going, everyone? Andrew Marwede here on Team DGA. I'm super excited to show you guys my building the bag process, and let's get right into it. So starting off with my putting putters, I am using the Granite Steady BLs. Super confident with this putter. It's a nice flat beadless putter. The thing I like most about this putter, it's a super straight putter. My focus is mainly practicing circle one, so this putter is going to be a dead straight circle one. And the good thing about this is once you get past that circle one range, it has a nice, good, overstable stability at the end for those circle two finishes. So I'm going to be relying heavily on these putters for this upcoming season. Now we're moving into the approach putters. I got a handful. I got 5. Starting out with my closest range putter, I have the BlowFLy. This is going to be a putter where it's going to be just outside of my jump putt range, so that's 100 to 150 foot, kind of like a soft throw-in range. If you don't know anything about the BlowFLy, super flexible, not going to skip, not going to roll. Wherever it hits, it's going to land. So this is going to be a very fun and experimental disc for me, so super excited for this one. Next up, I got my Granite Steady BL. This is going to be a shorter range approach putter for me. I might even use this for some straighter jump putts. But my main focus for this disc is going to be that just outside the BlowFLy range. It's a very neutral straight putter with a very soft grip, so it feels really great in the hand. It's going to have a very soft landing as well. So another straight approach disc for me, the Granite Steady BLs. Moving into my overstable putters, have the D-line breaker. This is one of my most favorite approach discs right now for backhand approaches and forehand approaches. So with this being the baseline plastic, it's a little more straighter for the run of the breakers. Thrown at full speed, this thing will go dead straight depending on how hard you throw it, and it'll just finish off just to the end. And as for sidearms, same thing. It's going to be a very neutral straight putter with that overstable finish. Going hand in hand with that breaker, I have the SP line breaker. This is going to be one where I trust it a little bit more into windier situations. I'm still going to be throwing this for backhand and forehand hyzers. So D-line breaker, SP line breaker, definitely a go-to approach disc for me. Now I have for the super overstable shots, I have the Discraft Glow Z Zone. This is going to be one for extreme hyzers. I'm not really going to be throwing this for anything but straight to overstable shots. Anything that I don't think the breaker is going to dump off as hard, I'm going to be throwing the zone. That's all I got for putters, so we're going to switch it up and go with the mid-ranges now. First up, I got a First Flight Tremor. This is going to be a hyzer flip understable mid-range. Has a lot of glide, so when you put this thing on hyzer, it really is going to pop up and slowly drift off to the right. It's not going to really fade back too much on you, so this is going to be one that is exclusively used for turnover shots or extreme hyzer flips. So super fun disc to try out, and it can be thrown on a lot of different kind of lines. So excited to really work this in the bag this year. Next up in stability, I have the ProLine Aftershock. This is one of my straighter mid-ranges I have. This one for me is going to be that point and shoot disc. Slight hyzer, it'll pop up and go flat. Slight anhyzer, it's going to hold that anhyzer the whole time. So this is going to be my straight mid-range for this season, the Aftershock. Moving up in stability, I have the Swirl Quake. This one for me is a straight beefcake. Flat release to hyzer, it can hold up in any sort kind of winds. I'm even going to throw this sidearm a little bit. It has that torque resistant for forehand where it really can be thrown on anhyzer and come back at the very end. So the Quake is going to be a really good longer approach mid-range for me that I'm going to really enjoy throwing. Now kind of one where it's half mid-range, half fairway, I think, is the Squall. This disc goes surprisingly far for a mid-range. It is a super neutral disc. It'll flip up a little bit for you, but it really is a dead straight disc. If you've never thrown a Squall, you're definitely missing out. This is going to be one I'm going to be throwing on a lot of different lines, even trying out some forehand flip-up lines with this. So this is a very versatile disc I'm going to be throwing, but a dead straight, very far-flying disc. Starting with fairway drivers, we're going to start with the most understable, and that is going to be the Sail. I have this in the ProLine plastic. This disc for me is going to be exclusively for rollers, backhand rollers that is. Very understable but high-speed fairway driver. So anything thrown flat or with anhyzer is going to have that perfect kind of roller action where it holds to the left, but being so understable, it will finish off. So I'm experimenting some more like super big high anhyzer shots with this, but my main use for this disc is going to be rollers. So that is the Sail. Next up in the fairway section, I have the SP line pipeline. This is going to be the disc for me. When I walk up to a tunnel shot, I'm grabbing the pipeline. Very straight fairway driver, feels great in the hand, has a little bit of dome, and goes surprisingly far for a fairway driver. For me, I'm throwing this disc usually at about 80% just to make sure I have that nice straight flight. But when thrown as hard as you can, it still has that stability to turn a little bit and have that hyzer finish, but gonna be a wooded disc for me, the SP line pipeline. Next up, I have a couple different plastic types for the Banzai. First up, I have the Pro line. This disc is gonna be used for sidearms and backhands. The Pro line is a little bit straighter for a Banzai, so this is gonna be that kind of hyzer flip up to flat with the hyzer finish. It is a very good fairway driver. It can hold up into headwinds, but for me, it's gonna be used for the hyzer flip up to flat, and it has surprisingly good distance as well. A good complement to the Pro line Banzai, I have the Glow Banzai with my new stamp on it. This one's gonna be a tad bit more overstable, so I'm gonna rely more on this one for hyzer backhands, and it's also gonna be good for forehands as well. So the Banzai is gonna be one of my most used fairway drivers for this season. Moving on to my more overstable fairway driver slots, I have the Tsunami. This is a new disc for me that I've been trying out a lot. I had this in the SP line, and this disc has done wonders for me. This disc for forehands is really gonna hold very, very straight for a long portion of its flight and have that good overstability finish. And same with the backhands. It's really gonna be used for mostly hyzer shots or even into headwinds. This disc is an awesome long-range fairway driver. A good complement to that, I have the SP line Hellfire. Now this disc does not have a whole lot of glide, but that's okay, I don't need it to have glide. It is the most overstable disc in my bag, so I'm able to trust this in any kind of windy situation and really use for big kind of anhyzer forehands that come back and have a nice big flare skip. So this disc is more of a utility disc for me, but I'm really looking forward to trying this out. I have a couple of control drivers that I'm using. I have the Pro line Undertow. This one for me is a hyzer flip to flat, straight flying disc. This disc goes surprisingly far. This is gonna be one where I don't necessarily use it in windy conditions, but more hyzer flip tunnel in the woods, even actually forehand flip ups too. So very underrated disc that I'm really looking forward to using. And a step up in stability from the Undertow, we have the Rogue. I have this one in the Pro line plastic. This disc is gonna go a little bit further than the Undertow for me and also have a tad bit more stability, but very similar in flight characteristics, but both super straight discs and also super easy to throw. So Rogue and Undertow for my control drivers. Moving on to distance drivers, my main distance driver is the Hurricane. I currently bag 5 of them, going from the most understable to overstable. I have a couple of the limited edition Flex Hurricanes. This is gonna be my most understable, but not too understable. It's gonna have that nice flip up to turn, but every Hurricane is gonna have the same finish, a nice overstable finish at the end. So this is gonna be my woods disc, my hyzer flip maximum distance driver. And it's a step up from that, I have another Flex Hurricane. It's a little bit newer, a little bit more stable, but both are probably gonna be my bomber Hurricane disc. Moving up in stability, I have the Shasta Hurricane. This is a very neutral Hurricane that I've come to find out when thrown flat, might have a little bit of a turn, but has that consistent finish. I'm gonna be throwing this disc a lot for forehands. It feels really good in the hands, and it has that nice overstability finish that you need for any maximum distance shot. So this is my most neutral Hurricane I currently bag. Next up, we just have a Pro line Hurricane, a little bit more stable than the last one, but still gonna be a key piece in my bag for this year. Same thing, used a lot for backhands and for forehands. And then moving up, I have a Pro line Hurricane. This is my most overstable one, so I might trust this one a little bit more in headwinds and also for those really steep hyzers that I'm gonna be throwing for backhand and forehand. They all feel relatively the same, a nice wide rim, feels great in the hands, and that is gonna be my distance driver of choice for this year, the Hurricane. I got 3 more distance drivers. I'm gonna classify these as my utility drivers. First up being the Pro line Tempest. This one is a very understable, high-speed driver that goes a very long ways. This disc for me is gonna be that super hyzer release that flips up and even has a lot of turn after the hyzer flip release. So this one's gonna be a maximum distance, anything in a tailwind that I wanna make sure the disc is traveling right for the majority of its flight. So the Tempest is gonna be a long distance driver for me. Next up, we have the ProLine Torrent. This is my favorite distance driver for sidearm. It has a very nice natural S-line flight to it, so this is going to be the maximum distance forehand. Super nice for even hyzer flips that pop up to flat and have that nice finish at the end. Going to be using this sometimes for backhands too, but most importantly for forehands. And last but not least, we have the First Flight Hypercane. This is going to be my high-speed driver with tons and tons of overstability. Trust it into any type of headwind. If I need a huge flare skip, just like the Hellfire, but I want more distance, more speed, I'm going to the Hypercane. That's all the discs I currently have in my bag. To show you my bag a little bit, I'm using the TRVRS LT right now. Tons of pockets, have a open spot for a water bottle. Other side you can fit 3 to 4, maybe even 5 discs in this little elastic band pouch right here. A couple side pockets with the zipper. I currently have a mini in one of it. And then the other side, I have my rangefinder, so tons of open spots to hold everything that you need on the disc golf course. So that's all the discs that I currently have in my bag for my Building the Bag series. Stay tuned and find out to see what I'm going to be throwing DGA throughout this season. I'll see you on the course.